Sometimes a single small fairy tale can replace 10 sessions with a psychologist. This is exactly one of those cases. A little girl was running across a sunlit meadow. She wore a white lace dress, had pink ribbons in her curls, and held a butterfly net in her hands. She felt happy and carefree. And then, under a small green burdock leaf, she saw a huge toad covered in warts. "What a disgusting toad," the girl said with disgust. "Heh heh," the toad croaked. "Did you know that I'm an enchanted prince?" "Really, really," said the toad. "An evil witch cast a spell on me and my kingdom. I am young, handsome, and rich. If you break the spell, I will marry you, and we will live happily ever after. I will carry you in my arms and give you flowers every day." "And how do I break the spell?" the girl asked. "It's not easy because the evil witch cast a complicated spell. You must take me home, let me sleep in your soft bed, kiss me every day, feed me with a spoon, and take me out for walks. Then everything will happen. One morning, you will wake up to find not a nasty toad beside you, but a handsome prince, and your life will become happy and serene." The girl listened to the toad, utterly enchanted. She looked at the warty skin, the bulging eyes, the narrow slit of a mouth, but what she saw was a tall man with a thick head of black hair and beautiful green eyes. Beside him, she saw herself in a magnificent white dress in a beautiful castle and heard words of love. Overcoming her disgust, the girl knelt down, placed the toad in the hem of her dress, and took it home with her. From that day on, the girl's life changed. She no longer ran through the sunny meadow chasing butterflies, nor did she sing or have fun. She took care of the toad. The toad turned out to be very demanding. It demanded croissants for breakfast and spaghetti for dinner. It wanted to sleep in the girl's bed, and it left slimy trails on the floor and on the bed, so the girl constantly had to wash the floors and do the laundry. She stopped tying ribbons and wearing her beautiful lace dress. Her hands became red and very sore from all the washing, and the toad continued to be a big nasty toad and showed no sign of turning into that handsome prince. Sometimes the girl looked at it and really wanted to throw it out of her little house. Just like before, she was afraid of making a mistake. What if there was just a little bit left to wait? What if she woke up tomorrow and saw not a disgusting amphibian, but a green-eyed brunette by her side? Several months passed like this. Hardly anyone would have recognized the once cheerful and carefree girl in this exhausted, bedraggled child. Now the toad was in charge of everything, and the girl only served her and did all the dirty work around the house. One day, the toad yelled at her for taking too long to bring lunch. The girl left the little house and began to cry. She sat down on the porch and wept bitterly. A little bird that was singing on a branch saw her. "Why are you crying?" the bird asked. "A nasty toad lives in my house and yells at me. All day long I wash, clean, and cook for her. I'm very tired and I don't want to live like this anymore." "And whose house is that?" the bird asked. "Mine," the girl replied, wiping away her tears. "And who brought that toad into your house?" "I did myself," the girl answered sadly. "Why?" the bird asked in surprise. "She promised me she would turn into a prince if I took care of her, but many months have passed and nothing has changed. Then why don't you just throw the toad out of your house? What if it's true and she'll turn into a prince very soon and I just need to wait a little longer? I've already spent so much effort. It would be a shame if I gave up when there was just a little bit left to wait. But what if you spend your whole life taking care of a toad that never turns into a prince?" the little bird asked. The girl thought for a moment. "If only I knew for sure," she said. Then the girl lifted her head and her eyes lit up. "Why don't I go visit the old witch who lives beyond the forest? She's old and wise. Maybe she can tell me whether the toad will become a prince or not." The girl was delighted and immediately set off to see the witch. The old witch lived beyond the forest in a crooked little hut. "I just want to know," said the girl, "if I might miss my chance to marry a prince." The witch took some chicken giblets, bat eyes, and marsh grass and began to tell the fortune. She shook her grey head and peered into her little pot, from which thick, stinky steam was rising. "It's just a toad," she finally said. "Don't waste your time. He'll never become a prince." The girl left the witch's house feeling sad. She walked for a while with her head down. Then an idea came to her. The witch could be wrong. What does that old woman know about princes? I'll go to the good fairy. She'll tell me for sure. The good fairy lived in a beautiful castle with windows and tall towers. "I'm so tired," said the girl, "but I'm afraid that if I drive the frog away, I'll never marry a prince." The fairy shook her head and asked for one day. She divined by the light of the moon and the stars, drew complex formulas from the curls of clouds and white daisies. And the next day, she delivered her verdict. "It's just a frog," she told the girl. "It will never become a prince. You'd better take it back to the meadow." The girl listened to the fairy in silence and left, but inside she was boiling with indignation. "They're just jealous of me," she exclaimed as she stepped outside. "Of course everyone wants to marry a prince. I know better than they do. I can feel that I'm not doing this in vain." And the girl returned to the frog. She got an earful for being gone so long and not feeding the frog. She cleaned the house of slime, made lunch, and gave the frog a bath. Large, brownish green, and covered in warts, it lay on a lace pillow in the girl's bed. The girl herself couldn't sleep with the frog and had long since given up her place to it. She slept on a narrow couch in the kitchen. Before bed, as usual, she thought about how wonderful her life would become when the frog turned into a prince. She came up with names for their children and wondered what flowers would grow in her garden. It was with these sweet thoughts that she fell asleep. And she had a dream. She was walking along the path to her little house and saw that it had become dilapidated, had collapsed. The windows were dusty, and on the porch of the house sat an old woman. She was frightening, shaggy, and looked like a forest witch. And so the old woman looks at her, beckons her with her crooked fingers, and the girl wants to run away, but her legs won't obey. She approaches the old woman, and the old woman looks at her with faded, colorless eyes and asks, "Do you recognize me?" The girl replied, "I've never seen you before." The old woman coughs, "It's you. For many years I took care of the toad and waited for it to become a prince. Everyone told me it was just a toad, but I didn't believe anyone. I only believed the toad. I wanted to marry a prince and was very afraid that if I drove the toad away, it would never happen. And so many years passed. And yesterday the toad died. It just died. And I cried for a long time about what would never happen. About my life, which I spent taking care of it. I cried about the fact that I have grown old and can no longer run through the meadow and catch butterflies like I used to. And about the prince I will never marry. Look at me. I've become an old woman. I am your future." "No, no," the girl cried out. She wanted to run away, but her legs wouldn't obey her, and she could only cover her eyes with her hands and scream, "No, no! You're keeping me from sleeping," she heard a creaky voice say. She opened her eyes and saw that she was lying on the couch, and the toad was sitting on the floor, watching her. "Take me to bed and be quiet," ordered the toad. Phrases kept spinning in her head, one after another, the ones the bird, the witch, the enchantress, and the old woman from her dream had told her. "It's just a toad." She got out of bed, picked up the toad, walked to the door, and opened it. The toad sensed something was wrong. "Hey, where are you taking me?" it screeched. The girl opened the door, swung her arm wide, and threw the toad as far as she could. "And don't come back. I'm never going to feed you or let you sleep in my bed again. This is my house, and I'm going to do what I like. I'll run through the meadow again, catch butterflies, and enjoy life. I don't believe your promises. You're just a toad." She closed the door, and for the first time in many months, smiled. If you recognized your own toad, write about it. What did you realize for yourself? Subscribe to